George Elliott Clarke is a Canadian poet, playwright, and literary critic who served as the Poet Laureate of Toronto from 2012 to 2013, and in 2016 to 2017 as the Canadian Poet Laureate, a Parliamentary Poet Laureate. His work is known largely for its use of vast range of literary and artistic traditions, its lush physically, and its bold political substance. George Elliott Clarke is also known for chronicling the experience and history of the African-Canadian communities of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, creating a cultural geography that he has called Africana. Recognitions include the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Fellows Prize, the Governor-General's Award for Poetry, the National Gold Award for Poetry, the Premio Poes, which is a Romanian award, the Dartmouth Book Award for Fiction, the Eric Hoffer Book Award for Poetry, which is American, and the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Achievement Award. It is, oh my goodness, such a great honor to welcome George Elliott Clarke to the podium.
How wonderful it is to be in Aurora, the land of the dawn light, the dawn sun. Aurora, of course, being a Roman goddess of the dawn. So even though it's evening, we can still celebrate light, and we should, especially as the days dwindle down and become shorter, and night becomes longer, and we await the rebirth of light, so to speak, with the vernal equinox, sometime next March, I suppose. It's really great that Ron Riecki came up with the idea that he should put together this anthology of Great Lakes Poets Laureate from around the 5 Great Lakes, American and Canadian, to think about social justice. And of course, that was probably a subtext of our most recent democratic exercise on Monday, October 21. And we might want to think that Halloween came 10 days early, depending on our ideas of the outcome or our reactions to the outcome. I'm reminded as a writer and simply as a citizen and simply as a human being that politics is everywhere all the time, all the time. There's never any escape from it. And that's important because usually, especially in democratic societies, it is about trying to figure out how best to spend the people's money. What should be our priorities? How can we use our treasury, our collective money, to support improvements to the Aurora Public Library, to support improvements in terms of public education, to support the expansion of healthcare to include dental care, as well as pharmacare, and so on. And of course, you can all tell that I'm coming from the left side of the rainbow, the spectrum, so to speak. And that's okay because Alexa McDonough, the former leader of the NDP nationally and the NDP in Nova Scotia, was my kindergarten teacher. So please blame her for my indoctrination in all things leftist. Anyway, I started off by talking about politics being and everything, so I'm going to read a brand new poem. And it's my presentation of Judas. Yes, the biblical Judas, for crying out loud. And I just wanted to give him some words of his own to use. And please don't think that I agree with everything that he has to say. I don't. But I thought he'd be an interesting character to try to give some words to. And we might want to think of him as being any kind of politician we don't like. I'll just put it that way. So he's talking about Christ, and Christ is called X in this poem. X, the young old man, feels about blind under miracles of dazzle, so he goes olive tan in the sun, exposed. I feel he's cruel, devoted to finishing a cup of red wine, dusting off the whole vineyard, or parading insurgent through a temple of blood, synagogue of tears. He's the swift hunter after the fragile prey, backers who have substance, people who pay property tax. In full regards to the madman who pushes his gospel through our ear slots, I gotta tell you, We need either a different Messiah or a sweeter message. I ain't exaggerating or being super sensitive when I state that X is a madman, and his sermons trouble all sincerity for myself as a Hebrew. I never had problems with my faith before, never. I was born and raised in Jerusalem, and I'm used to multicultural alterity. But there's something fishy and weird about X. Once he ruptures our eardrums with his preaching, I peek through prayer-shuttered eyelids and I see the unwashed soot on his feet, the crowds of straw-fragile, sick-bed invalids placed around him, these exiles from Gotterdammerung hospitals, and his rhetoric seems vaguely drunk. Off our knees, back on our feet, we know X aggressively whines past us disciples as if we're not consequential at all. Worse, if one of us brings a woman into our entourage, our encampment, he grins and leers and is disrespectful. For he can say who's divorced, a secret adulterer, who's a widow or murderess, whose cat's been dogged from behind. So X's behavior undermines our love affairs. He's superficially respectful but is privately forensic. Next, he shoves sharp moralisms through our ears. I know what I'm saying. I understand my experiences. And X is a dissenter, pure trouble. I even feel over-threatened by him. Coming anywhere near my person, please investigate him and find out who he's secretly an agent for. I don't agree he's the Messiah. I desire the gospel, but not from X. I feel unsafe with him near my person, or our communal baths and digs, flop houses and caves. I saw him in Jerusalem at Golgotha on the 30th of March, year 33, and I felt scared due to the dude. And I ain't exaggerating a single atom of ink, not misleading your eyeballs one jot. And his meanness is personal. That I thus write to you will send X into a revengeful rage. He's maximally a threat. I've always been worried that he's unstable. I've always noted his impulsive barbarism. Take note, heed, I am serious. I've seen flashbulbs across the face of the tyrant, and I wish he'd be banished to the Gallic Riviera and kept by €1,000,000 of public money per annum, including 900,000 euros for his security detail. I'd like to be contacted back immediately to discuss to assurance my preservation as the de facto spy informant. I'm concerned that his sermons ram ever harder our eardrums, shoving harsh words hard into our skulls, maybe because he doubts our commitment. This fact, too, is dangerous. I'm speaking truth. I'm exposing him to halt his bad behavior, as well as to provide witnesses to what he and Peter have already done. Understand this, it's dangerous. The letter nays is troublesome. I'm best reached by shrill and coded whistle. Our eaves are uneasily dark. Don't ignore the frayed rapids of my sentences, the rooted cascades of ink. My words come as quick as light kills shadows and frames new ones. Probe and prod my penmanship as you like, but I want our so-called Messiah over and done with, presto. I ain't lying. I tell you God's honest truth. God is a witness to X's soul, this guy's soul, and his intent, when he sets his eyes, glossy hatchets to fix and scythe my own. Grazier, Judas. P.S. I warned he and Peter that I could report him, that they'd be hunted down, rather than cops going wild in freight yards, accosting and killing hobos very happily. The twain could feel wet worms and cool, moist soil spaded over their faces. Similarly, unfamiliar laughter unfurled out their yawns. Each tried to play the victim. Bastards, dastards, retards. They're villains who cry like victims. I'm godly in comparison to their self-styled God complexes. I don't need to summon Satan here. Please get back to me and have my back so we can have an honest Messiah and not a murderer, instigator like Charles Manson. I'm serious. I feel it, threatened, and see it threats. There's something about X that's crooked, as if he wants me crucified personally. You gotta notice it, eh? Targets ain't tangents. A couple more, so that we have time for questions. And please be as mean and tough and nasty in your questions to Tom especially, as you wish. He can handle it. I can't. I'm too squeamish. I'll just fold in a second. I would never make it as a politician. Because I would be tempted to tell the truth, which of course is very dangerous. especially if you're not used to it. A political poem from this CD, the Afro-Métis Nation Constitution, and this is myself and 4 other folks, African-Canadian from the Maritimes. I call us Afro-Canadian, but we're also Afro-Métis because we're part Indigenous. There are 18 tracks on this CD. I have one available for sale, only $20. This track is one of those poems and one of those songs. And even though I am not a singer, and I make no claims for being a singer, I am happy to reassure you that most of the voices on this CD consist of professional singers who do a really terrific job, and backed by really incredible musicians. But here am I reading nakedly, without music and without musical notes. The piece is important, I think, for the murdered and the missing. Someone's guilty of 1,000,000 crimes. Blood on his hands, death on his mind. To send my sister away, away, to put my mama in a distant grave. Why she gotta be murdered? Why she gotta go missing? This land is hers, so I heard. All the saints are insisting. Someone's gotta sink in hell and rot, dumped bones in bush or parking lots. Disappeared my auntie, saw her die. Exiled my daughter, served her misery. Why she gotta be missing? Why she got to be murdered? Why I hear justice hissing like a viper in a graveyard. Someone's papa mapped a trail of tears. Someone's son paved a highway of tears. Why my sister gotta stumble down? Why my mama gotta humble down? Why she got to go missing? Why she got to be martyred? Indigenous insisting justice for our massacred. Justice for our massacred. Someone's flag looks like blood on snow. Someone's history's a damn crime show. To hurt my daughter, so she weep. To wound my auntie while she sleep. Why she got to be murdered? Why she got to go missing? Martyred in mud, slush, marred from the Pa to Nipissing. Someone's guilty of 1,000,000 crimes from 5 centuries back down to next time. Ain't sorry to little sister rape or put my mama in her too soon grave. Why she got to be murdered? Why she got to go missing? Ain't all government alert to crimes of commission? Why don't Parliament just wail? How can this Parliament fail? Got to have justice insisting. No more murdered, no more missing. No more homicide, suicide, genocide, no screaming words that none can hide. No more trails and highways of tears. No more families cramming each a hearse. Time to put the guilty where they belong, on trial in jail by the end of this song. Why she got to be missing? Why she got to go murdered? Why I hear justice hissing like a viper in a graveyard? Why she got to go missing? Why Why she got to be murdered? Indigenous, insisting justice for our massacred. Justice for our massacred. Justice, 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 justice for our massacred. Justice, 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 justice for our massacred. Why she got to go missing? Why she got to be murdered? I end with something a little lighter, actually a lot lighter. And this is an autobiographical book of poetry about my beginnings as a poet when I was age 15. And it covers 30 years of my life between 1975 and 2005, or rather between ages 15 and 45. And I wrote it very much to be read aloud. I also have a few copies of this available tonight for sale. Only $20, and I can make change, and I'm always happy to sign. But no e-transfers. Yeah, 2 available to fraud, which the banks won't cover, as we've been hearing recently, as if that should be a surprise. What was handed down was back talk, my nasty Nova Scotian noise, black and insolent, an A to Z menagerie of braying or caterwauling script, crying out loud, cryptic adorations, Christ and curry and quaint, not only in that order via a hodgepodge of fountain pens, one quixotic, the rest antique, straggling ink between wispy lines, letting letters light dead on, biting into paper. My pinched ears slurped up music's juices, mine eyes gobbled gilt wine, plus hors d'oeuvres, the champagne and caviar look of each page. Anthologies were subversive, half Tijuana Bible and half marijuana dream. I ain't forgotten Henry Dumas, Conrad Kent Rivers, Robert Hayden, or Gene Toomer. I don't shun their deep self-sermons, their harmonious harmonies. Their pages unfurl as thin as moonshine. You tip one of their gypsy poems and it tips you over tipsy. Their words float just like Mary Poppins, but sting just like Muhammad Ali. Suddenly Queen Elizabeth's English turns Negroid, Mongoloid, dawdling, and lavish in the mouth. Now you know that draw down poems means tap and born again, now deathless trees. Didn't I freeze, perambulating frozen peninsular Halifax, north end to south end to north, crossing and double crossing hierarchy and caste and race and sex, stumbling at times them fault lines, as intoxicated as Lear, I staggered raggedly, taking blows of rain and snow, or slaps of rain and snow and tears, taking blows of rain and snow, or slaps of rain and snow and tears, stinging my black face, breathless fog and snow and rain and tears. Store windows spit neon to bleach me white. My jeans were impure. My blue jeans were dirty.